Hi friends, we're back in the garden today. It's a long weekend, so it's a beautiful sunny day, so I want to take advantage of doing a few tasks in the garden. And I headed to Home Depot because I had to do a price adjustment. They kind of overcharged me on my gardening gloves. And what is better than a fresh pair of gardening gloves? And these were $8 for a pack of 10, which is a great deal. So, you know, these don't really last. You can't really wash them. They just don't really last that long. So it's nice to have a fresh pair. And look how cute these green ones are. Most of them are just a solid color, but these ones are quite cute. So nice to have a nice pair for potting, for watering. And while I was there, of course, I had to check out the plant section, and I bought 3 storm cloud Amsonia. I just couldn't help myself. And I also picked up some mulch because in the front yard we have quite a dry, baked soil. If it doesn't get water, it's quite bad for the plants. And we are on water restrictions, so there's limited watering. So I do have to mulch that area, and I've been putting it off. So I'm going to try to get that done today and get that mulch to kind of retain moisture and prevent weeds. It is under the tree. It's kind of a new garden bed, so I'll show you that. And yeah, hopefully we can get that done, and then maybe we can even plant the Amsonia today. So here we go. Here's my storm cloud Amsonia. These are regularly $14.98, and they were on clearance for $5. And you can see they're a periwinkle blue type of perennial. And I love these plants because they have a really unique shade of flower. They are actually blue, a very light blue, but it's very hard to get blue flowers in the garden. So I love these flowers. I have a bunch in my garden already, but I just couldn't resist this deal. And just to show you the stats on it, so here you go, storm cloud Amsonia. It is a perennial that is for full sun or part sun. And these I'm going to be putting in part sun. And you can kind of see it's also called blue star. It is a height of 24 to 30 inches, and minimum spacing is 38 inches to 42. I always ignore that and I plant them much closer. It is hardy in zones 4 to 9, and it blooms late spring to early summer. So absolutely nothing wrong with these plants. The only reason they put them on clearance is they were making room for new plants. So you can see all this like new growth on here. All this is new growth, so they're very healthy. And when I purchase them, I always look at the stems. I try to see if there's new growth coming up below, and there is here. So that's what I looked for. So very healthy plants. I also love them because they are herbaceous perennials, so they kind of disappear in winter, and then in spring they send up these shoots, which are olive green, like a very dark color, which are very unique. So it's always like very cool to see those popping up in spring. And yeah, I just love this plant. And I also got my mulch here. So I've got 3 bags of classic mulch. This is dyed, but I believe it is a natural dye, so it's not going to be harmful for any kind of plants that you put this around, and it just gives a very nice finished look. So here's a garden bed that we're working on today, and I've given it a good water. And recently we had our grass overseeded, so there was some grass growing in there, so I just did a quick weeding of the area best I could. So we've got the weeds out, we've got it nice and watered, and now it's ready for the top dressing, which I'm going to be putting some compost over it. So this is the new garden bed. So this one, it's definitely needs it. This one over here has been here for a little bit. So that one has self-seeded quite a bit with rose campion. So there's not that much room to top dress, to be honest. And also it butts up against this driveway. So there's not that much room. It'll like kind of go over. So that's a little bit of an issue. So we'll do the best we can, but mostly I wanted to just get this taken care of. And since I've transplanted these mock oranges, which was just a little while ago, within a matter of weeks, they have bloomed. They're doing beautifully. They smell really nice. If you put your nose in them, you can smell them. They don't kind of scent the air like lilacs do, but they do have a nice scent if you sniff them. So that is Illuminati Towers mock orange. That's those 2 there. And below I've got some foxgloves, which this one looks like it's going to be blooming soon. And I have this kind of dark purple, which I think is pink profusion. So that's a beautiful salvia, and I've got it dotted out. So these have been here a little bit longer, those 3. And then I have additional 3 here. The middle one is blooming. The other 2 are a little bit behind, but I think that's just because they're new transplants, so eventually they'll catch up. But I've got a nice edge here, so I'm gonna start by putting in the compost over top of this. All right, so I've just put down a little bit of compost, 1 bag of sea soil it's called, around some of these plants, just to help with that soil a little bit. And I tried to go as far as I could here, but there's, you know, the good thing is that it's so dense that there's a lot less weeds here anyway, so there's no need for mulch. I can't really mulch in here. But I did want to feed these plants and this tree because the soil isn't the best. So I wanted to put a thin layer of compost here, and then I'm going to put my mulch around here. I didn't compost here at the edge because I don't want anything growing here. So we'll see how that goes with the top up of the mulch. All right, so I got the compost down. Now I've got it mulched. It took about 1.5 bags. I mulched it and kind of tapered it down towards the edge, so you can see. Hopefully the grass won't be growing into that. We'll have to just keep an eye on that. And it really makes everything look so much sharper, so much more put together. You know, like I do leave leaves in the ground, on the ground, but a lot of them hadn't broken down. So it's just kind of covered up with mulch and just makes everything look so much tidier. So we have these beautiful blooms. We have the foxglove coming. We've got the salvia, some of it in bloom and in progress of blooming. Here we have some pincushion flower. It's beautiful. I think this is butterfly blue pincushion flower. And this is pink profusion salvia. It's like a shorter one, but very vibrant pink. Let's see, we have a hellebore, and that was very much needed early interest. I did cut back quite a bit of the leaves because I think they were shading this salvia out. So now this salvia will have more sun and should hopefully catch up in size to this one. And of course, this is my rose campion, which is getting set to bloom. Beautiful silvery foliage with a vibrant fuchsia bloom. I believe this is a phlox that I transplanted. This is kind of some more old rose campion, but it has some new growth, so I've left that. We have some alchemilk or achillea yarrow there, which is also a vibrant fuchsia color. And another pincushion flower. This is a lilac on standard, Miss Kim. It is a beautifully scented specimen, and right now a lot of the blooms have blown off. We had quite a windy day a few days ago, but so it's on its way out, but in its height it was very beautiful. Down here I've got my Boscabelle rose, which has quite a bit of buds on it. This beautiful buds getting ready to bloom. It's pretty soon here. Put on quite a bit of growth, looking very healthy, no sign of aphids or anything. And then I have some lilies that are also getting ready to bloom. These lilies are just lilies that I had that I'm not really the biggest fan of lilies, but I just popped them in here because I didn't have anywhere else to put them. And up front, so these are my 2 storm cloud Amsonia. One here and one here. They had a lot more blooms on them earlier, but they're also on the decline. They kind of bloom in time with the lilac. So they will give me nice colored foliage when the blooms fade. So it's a beautiful, beautiful little perennial there. In the front, I do have some lavender hidden under here. There's a lavender. Here's another lavender. This one's doing the best. It's got buds on here. It was cut back quite a bit. I have a little one here. So I did have one at the corner that doesn't look like it made it. It's quite small here. Just a little bit of it left. And this, I had transplanted a carex here, but it looks like another plant is coming up. I'm not sure what that plant is. It might even be a weed, but I'm gonna leave it and see what it is before I pull it. And also I've got quite a bit of cosmos, which are popping up. They've just self-seeded themselves, which I don't mind at all. So hopefully those will grow and add some color as well. So overall, this bed in the front is looking a lot better. And I made sure not to mulch close to the tree, to the base of the tree. So basically I made sure to leave a well and kind of pulled the mulch back. Before I actually created this bed, this grass was all the way up to here, which is very bad for the tree. So yeah, I think even though the tree is now competing with all these plants, I think it is actually in a much better position than it was now that it's been kind of dug out. So it took a lot longer than I thought it would, as usual, but it's all done and it's looking great. Well, it's getting dark, but we did get a lot accomplished today. We did weed and water and add compost and mulched a bed. So hopefully that bed is ready to go for the season. It's a new bed, so it looks really great. And I also got to use kind of the leftover mulch to add a little bit of top mulch to another bed, which I'll show you right now. So you can see this bed, it just got a little bit of a top dressing of mulch. The mulch had faded a bit in places. So I just added some. There is quite a bit of cosmos seeds in there that I've self-seeded, but it's looking good. And you know, my heuchera in the front are just looking amazing. And that dark mulch really sets that off quite nicely. And the last task I did on the other side here, I have a lavender here. And what I did was I added a third one here just to kind of finish this row off. So I had this kind of leftover from last year, so I popped that in there. I also had a violet riot salvia left over from last year, so I popped that in here because nothing did come back here. I'm not sure what I had planted here, but it didn't come back. And I think that purple will actually really look nice next to this calendula, which is all seeded, which is bright orange. So orange and purple look quite nice together. And there's this clematis here, which also will look really nice with all that purple. So this is kind of a purple row, purple and orange here. And I have half a bag of mulch left over of the 3 bags I had. And I'm just gonna pop my Amsonia in the backyard and hopefully get those planted another day. Okay, I might have lied. I came back to the backyard to put my stuff away and put away those 3 storm cloud Amsonia, and I thought, you know what, let's just get them in the ground because I have a plan not to have plants lying around. So I put them in my shade garden that I had just worked on recently with adding the Acarus ogon grass. So I did that in a recent video, and I thought the Amsonia would look really good next to that color. So let me show you where I put them. So here is my kind of part shade bed because it is shady on kind of this half, and then this side gets a little bit more sun. So the other day I did put in some Acarus grass, which is this bright yellow grass. I had this one already and I added this one, and I thought, you know what, my Amsonia with its beautiful blue blooms will look so nice next to this yellow. So I dotted my 3 Amsonia around this Acarus ogon. And this is the side that does get more sun. So I'm not sure, I think eventually I'll have to kind of shift things around because it is quite crowded in there. I am doing that intentionally because I don't want to have to weed too much, so I like having a very full bed. That's why I let all these penstemons self-seed here. But yeah, I think it's gonna look great, and hopefully they'll do well in this spot here. So one other thing I wanted to show you guys is my Poet's Wife rose. I had placed here temporarily. I was gifted this rose from someone and it was already in the barrel, and I just popped it here for a while just until I decided where to put it, and it's got this gorgeous bloom on it. So it's the first bloom. It's a David Austin Poet's Wife, and it's just a spectacular color. Look at just a golden, buttery, kind of in a burnt orange color. Beautiful. Very healthy. Look at these leaves, deep green leaves. No sign of any kind of aphids or anything like that. And we've got some more buds here. And this was like pruned back pretty severely, so glad to see that it's doing well. And as it sunsets, thanks for joining me in the garden, and I hope you got something done in your garden as well today. Bye now.